Morning, welcome to Thinking is Contagious. Little story. It's a it's based on some fact. I'm going to elaborate a little bit on some areas, and I'm going to sort of change some of the other areas so uh, the guilty parties are not as easy to identify for obvious reasons. But it's a story about a gentleman in the real estate business, which is what I spent 40 years doing, and doing some development work for a retailer. And obviously, with that development work for that retailer, involved in meetings and discussions and behind the scenes with the retailer. And one particular instance, there was an area, new market that was opened up, and stores opened, and the performance was measured, and the P&Ls were looked at, the profit and loss statements, and analyzed, and what's selling, what's not selling, what's different, what are the expenses, what are this, how's employment, all the things, and the one of the meetings I was listening, and one of the topics that comes up is the this discrepancy, or not the discrepancy, but the difference between this particular new market's the electric bills for the stores versus the electric bill for the stores in the other markets. And the district manager says, the electricity is more expensive in this trade area, which it was slightly more expensive. And I was very well aware of a situation because in doing my work in the trade area, I would visit stores, and I would visit competitor stores. And I always noticed that the windows on the retailer that I was working for were always clouded up with condensation. And the competitors that I would visit wasn't the same. And I always noticed how cold it was in the stores that I was doing the work for, and the competitors, it wasn't cold. It wasn't hot, but it wasn't cold. And after the meeting, I went up to the real estate guy that I work with, and I said, your stores are always freezing cold. I was listening to the thing about the electricity. Your stores are always freezing cold, and the competitors are not cold. Maybe you could look into that for the electricity. Well, we talked to the district manager, and he claims it's because of the discrepancy in the electric rate, in this particular part of the market, in this market. Okay, so they continue, and then one day, out of the blue, I hear this whole big commotion internally, and guess what? They discovered that the thermostat, the thermostats in the stores, which are supposed to be working within a certain range, were faulty, and that the stores were being basically run as refrigerated units almost, but not refrigerated units, but they were very cold. What does that tell you? That tells you that, and this is where the crap finally fell upon, and it fell upon the right source. The regional manager, the district manager. What does that tell you? He wasn't in the stores, wasn't going to the stores, wasn't going to the competitor stores, because if that was the case, he would have noticed something that the real estate guy brought up months before. What am I driving at? I'll tell you what I'm driving at. Kamala Harris has not been to the border yet. 130 days into the administration, the czar of the border has not been to the border, has not been to the border to address the border crisis, which has become the border catastrophe, a human catastrophe. Again, proof positive that Kamala Harris is where she is, not on merit, not on qualification, not on knowing her craft, but because she checked off the boxes that the left wanted checked off. She checked off the boxes that Joe Biden wanted to make himself look good by announcing that these were his requirements. And all the while, the enemies of this country rejoice. Look up incompetence, and you will see a picture of Kamala Harris, the czar of the border. Another topic I want to talk about is Israel, Palestine, the government of Israel basically being pitted against Hamas, terrorist organization, the left, AOC, the squad, talking trash about Israel. New York Congressman Meeks wants to withhold military aid for Israel because of what's happening. Condemnation of Israel for trying to protect its citizens. By the way, it's the Israeli government, a democratic government, the only democracy in the Middle East. The democratic government of Israel being put on the same playing field by the Democrats as Hamas. Terrorism. Being given the benefit of the doubt against Israel. If that doesn't tell you where this administration is, if that doesn't tell you where this left is, nothing will. The world is watching as America is tested, as Biden is tested, and as Biden is failing. The ineptitude of this man, the physical, cognitive deficiencies have never been more evident. This is not a fully functioning human being. This is a puppet who's been put in place to speak. As his strings are pulled, the puppet entertains the masses, and behind the scenes, the left destroys. We are at a critical juncture. Everything that you see happening in this country, you've seen Biden have to backtrack on the border wall. You're seeing the disruption within the Democratic Party. You're seeing the rifts within the Democratic Party as to this socialist agenda to penalize the middle class. You look at Ronald Reagan trickle-down economics. By the way, trickle-down economics of John F. Kennedy, of Ronald Reagan. They brought economies from bust to boom, unequivocal. trickle down works. Trump did the same thing. Trump's economy was the greatest economy this country, arguably the greatest economy this country's had since the Industrial Revolution. All based on the same thing: lower taxes, put more money in people's pockets. The agenda now is all the opposite, and I've told you why. And the thing that bothers me the most is I hear Kudlow and I hear these people on Fox, and I tried calling Fox, and they're saying, oh, it's an attack on wealth, it's an attack on wealth. No, the Democrats' attack is not on wealth. It's, Kudlow, you missed the point. Fox, you missed the point. All you great talking heads, analysts, you missed the point, and I know why you missed the point, because you have an agenda. If you really look at the reason behind what the left is doing, it's exactly and precisely what I have been talking about. This is not aimed at the wealthy. This is aimed at the middle class. This is aimed at those who feel that economic independence, working hard, sacrificing, investing, taking risk in order to achieve independence so that they don't need government assistance, so that they have as little to do with the government as possible. People who don't want the handout. People who say, I will think and make decisions that are best for me, not best for the politician. I will vote for the politician that best represents me. That's who they need to eliminate, and we've said why. The lower socioeconomic level, easy. Throw them a few bones, bread and circuses, they're under control. The very wealthy, the top of the elite, as long as you don't step on their toes, as long as you don't threaten their safety and security, as long as they can go home every night to their gated communities, they're willing to pay a little more. They're willing to say whatever they want, whatever needs to be said. They're willing to say that they are for equality and for inclusion and for diversity and for all. It's just lip service. All they want is to be sure that their apple cart's not being disrupted. So you don't have to worry about that part. So the people that the Democrats, the left, the socialists, and the communists know they cannot control, the people who can stop this, that part of the middle class that seeks wealth, that seeks financial independence, those are who they have to bring to their knees. And that is why you are seeing the attack on taxes. That's why you are seeing the attack on capital gains. That's why you're seeing the attack on inheritance taxes. What better way is there to destroy that middle class than double taxation on inheritance? Those investments that have been made are with after-tax dollars for the most part, very most part. And now the Democrats, the socialists, the communists are saying, let's take that and tax it again. And with those tax dollars, most of it we'll use for our own corrupt efforts under the guise of infrastructure, under the guise of the agenda soup du jour, the agenda of the day. And most of it will go for payola, paying off your political supporters, and ingratiating yourself with the corporate bigwigs who get you jobs, get your kids jobs, get your grandkids jobs, tell you stock tips. Those are the ones. And then the crumbs that fall off the feeding trough we send to the poor, because we know that with just a few dollars, they can be controlled. That's what this is. Destroy the middle class and assure yourself of power and perpetuity. Wake up. If you voted for Biden, this is on you. Absolutely, unequivocally. And the mess will continue to get worse until the 2022 elections, when we can hopefully count, with a more observant political base in this country, Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever you want to call yourself at this point, eliminate all those caveats, eliminate all those labels, and just call yourself an American when you go to the voting booth in 2022. An American. And vote as an American. And this will end. If you voted for Biden, this is on you. You're going to have a shot in 2022 to vote as an American. Vote as an American. And this country will be back to where it needs to be. Thank you. Have a good day. Share this. Send this around. Let's get some subscribers going. Let's get some people behind this. We need to do this for ourselves, for our kids, for our grandkids, and for America. Thank you.